Good happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to this week and this edition of Politics with Riley King. And happy Father's Day, everybody, to all the dads out there. We hope you all have a wonderful Father's Day, and we hope you enjoy this edition of Politics with Riley King. Let's begin. First up, de Blasio focuses on education in first visit to New Hampshire since declaring candidacy. Let's take a look at this video from WMUR News 9.
Participate.
Pushed out the door when it matters most. For more than a decade, he's been right there, everywhere. And when American jobs are on the line, he leads the charge. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast, and we thank you.
In an education roundtable with New Hampshire State Teachers Association members at Manchester Community College, de Blasio says education will become one of his top priorities if elected president, with a strong focus on early childhood education programs.
We should have a national priority in education for our youngest kids. If that were funded nationally, it would happen in New Hampshire, it would happen everywhere. But right now, what happens in America is catch as catch can, and a lot of kids lose out, a lot of families lose out.
De Blasio, who's from Massachusetts, says he's hearing from voters who want mass transit to Boston.
Folks want that rail line from Nashua down to Boston. That's exactly the kind of thing the federal government should be doing. That should be part of the infrastructure plan.
He also criticized the federal government. He says they have no national plan to tackle the opioid crisis.
A lot of places are doing what they can do, but there's no national strategy, and we're losing lives because of it.
And de Blasio also joining a chorus of others who now believe impeachment proceedings should move forward after President Trump told ABC News' George Stephanopoulos he would listen to foreign informers if they had dirt on a political opponent.
In that interview, he invited hostile nations to subvert our elections. He basically said, let's make a deal.
Shirlane McCray, de Blasio's wife, also has plans of her own if she were to become First Lady, an emphasis on mental health.
Our people are hurting all over the country. Our suicide rate is rising, especially among young people. We're in the middle of this opioid crisis, which is devastating.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Rising in polls. Warren back in New Hampshire to campaign. Let's take a look at this video from WMUR News 9.
It's our chance.
Elizabeth Warren serves as keynote speaker at the Manchester Democrats' annual Flag Day dinner. As her popularity soars nationally, one poll has her in second place behind Joe Biden.
Way too early for polls. What this is really about is a chance to talk with people. And New Hampshire's a place where you get to do this.
The Democratic debate lineups have been announced.
Any disappointment not being able to face Bernie or Biden?
I'm just delighted to be able to talk about why I'm in this fight. And to be there with a lot of other Democrats who are also in the fight and who have good ideas about what we want to see change and how we want to go about it.
Warren says debating on a national stage is exciting, but nothing compares to the ground game in New Hampshire.
This afternoon I was in someone's backyard, standing on their back porch, and talking to people about the things that touch their lives.
Warren says she has not started debate prep, but she has rolled out more policy proposals than any other candidate. Most recently, a $7 billion small business equity fund for entrepreneurs of color.
The independent analysis says it would support about 100,000 startups and small businesses and overall create about 1 million jobs.
State Rep Mary Heath was honored with tonight's Flag Day Award. Reporting in Manchester, Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Gillibrand says she'll protect right to abortion if elected president. Supporters see opening for candidate on issues of reproductive rights. Let's take a look at that video from WMUR News 9.
I'm here to represent, everyone.
Even as she struggled to qualify for the upcoming debates, Kirsten Gillibrand has drawn steady interest from first-in-the-nation voters. On the trail in Plymouth and Franklin Friday, the New York senator highlighted her fight against restricted access to abortion, an issue that's helped her campaign gain some traction.
This is something that has been intentional by President Trump because he doesn't value women. He doesn't believe that women should get to make those fundamental human rights decisions about when they're having kids, how many kids they're having, and under what circumstances they're having it.
If elected, Gillibrand is committing to appoint only pro-choice justices to the federal bench and Supreme Court. She says she'd codify the privacy right enshrined in Roe v. Wade and repeal the Hyde Amendment prohibiting federal funding for most kinds of abortion.
I will make sure that no matter what state you live in, you have access to reproductive care no matter what, that there are resources for you available.
State Rep Sue Ford recently endorsed Gillibrand. She believes abortion rights are under siege and must be defended.
You could ask any woman in this room, and you would know that that's very important.
When John McCain needed a boost in 2007, he came here to New Hampshire, campaigned on the surge in Iraq, and it worked. He won the primary and became his party's nominee. Some see the opportunity for Senator Gillibrand to do the same thing with the choice issue here with Democrats in 2020.
I think New Hampshire respects a fighter. They respect someone who will take on the battles that other people won't, who will lead in the right battle for the right reasons. I will go through fire to do what's right.
In Plymouth, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Democratic presidential debate stage set for June 26th and the 27th in Miami, Florida. 20 candidates qualify for first of 12 DNC debates, each night's lineup announced. And NBC will be moderating and hosting that debate and will be aired on NBC. And then there'll be a second debate scheduled for July 30th and the 31st in Detroit to be broadcast on CNN. And then there'll be a third debate scheduled for September 12th and the 13th on ABC. Exclusive Trump City's lessons from Nixon says he was never going to fire Mueller. President Donald Trump told ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos that he did not fire special counsel Robert Mueller because that didn't work out too well for former President Richard Nixon. And that does it for this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. I hope you all enjoyed this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. I'll see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics with Riley King. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and have a great rest of your Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Goodbye, everyone.